What's going on, Rodeo Universe? It's Hog Trail, aka the GOAT, back for episode 5 of Git Good. Thank you for all your kind words over the first couple episodes. Last time we built Kevin Nash. I was able to get a game in with Kevin Nash. I did win. It was against Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke is not necessarily the best superstar in the game. I did win pretty handedly. I kept a big hand throughout the entire game. I got egomaniacal into my ring pretty early. So far, so good with Kevin Nash. Let's see who we have today. Oh, Skip Sheffield. All right. We've got rookie Ryback, Skip Sheffield. All right, here we are in the deck builder. I've loaded up my heel shell for this superstar. I have an idea. So I've never built Skip Sheffield before, so I'm going in kind of blind. But I just had an idea that I think would be interesting. So let's go over his cards. Skip Sheffield has a 3 hand size and a 0 superstar value. He's a rookie NXT superstar. Once during each of your turns, you may remove 1 card in your ring from the game, and then search the top 5 cards of your arsenal for 1 maneuver, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. So this is an interesting ability because you don't find a lot of self-ring removal in the game. So that's going to be a big part of the build that I'm going to do today. It can really get you out of a lot of interesting situations. So keep that in the back of your mind. The corn-fed meathead cannot be blanked. When this card is moved from your ring, put up the 1 card from your ring side into your hand. When you would overturn cards for the NXT Breakout Star, overturn half as many cards instead, rounded up. When this card is in your ring or ringside, your non-revolution cards with Lariat in the title cannot be reversed by unique cards, and your opponent cannot play non-unique reversals with completely in the text from hand or use reversal effects with completely in the text to your Lariat takedown cards. So there's a couple things going on with this. It's not permanent, so Skip can remove the card from his own ring if he really needs a card in his ringside into his hand. You're probably going to save that for like an end of the game situation because the overturn effect for NXT Breakout Star is really good. So let me show you NXT Breakout Star before we go any further. It's a backstage area card. It can only be packed by an NXT superstar. It is considered superstar specific. Do not discard for Armageddon is upon us, which is huge for Skip because he only has a printed 3 hand size. Once during each of your turns, you may overturn 4 cards and then draw 1 card. When you have lower fortitude, overturn 2 less cards. So right off the bat, Skip Sheffield makes this. Once during each of your turns, you may overturn 2 cards and then draw 1. When you have lower fortitude, it basically becomes overturn 1 and draw 1. So that's really good. And the Lariat effect, I don't anticipate that being a very large part of my design. We'll see. We'll look at the Lariat cards in a minute, but it might not be something that we pursue. Sheffield's running Lariat. It is a strike trademark finisher multi. It's also a reversal that reverses an action. It's 25 fortitude and 10 damage, 2 stun. When you are Skip Sheffield, this card is minus 10 fortitude and can only be reversed by unique reversals. When played as a maneuver, this card is minus 5 fortitude and plus 5 damage. Okay, so we're Skip Sheffield. So this card's, as a maneuver, this card's going to be minus 15 fortitude. So that makes it a 10 fortitude strike trademark finisher that does 15 base damage as a maneuver. And it can only be reversed by unique reversals. However, it also has Lariat in the title, so it cannot be reversed by unique cards. So there's really not a lot your opponent can do about this, because it can only be reversed by unique reversals and cannot be reversed by unique cards. You figure it out. The Backpack Stunner, 25 fortitude, 15 damage, trademark finisher with 3 stun value. When you are Skip Sheffield, this card is plus 10 fortitude and plus 10 damage. When played after a successfully played card with Lariat in the title, this card is minus 5 fortitude and cannot be reversed by non-unique backlash reversals. So this is it's just a big trademark finisher. It probably won't be played after a Lariat card in most games. It's hard to hit 2 successful maneuvers in this game in 1 turn. I think we're still going to pack this card because it's trademark finishers are generally hard to reverse. So yeah, the Muscle and the Hustle, 0 fortitude, 0 damage, reversal. As a reversal, reverse any non-maneuver card, shuffle up 2 cards from your ringside into your arsenal. When this card is overturned, you may put this card into your ring. When this card is in your ring, do not discard backlash cards from your successfully played maneuvers. So when this card is overturned for any reason, you can put it into your ring. It's also a handy reversal, reverses a non-maneuver. So this card basically makes it so you don't discard for Lariat Takedown. We'll look at Lariat Takedown in a minute, but that is a good effect. However, I'm not sure if we're going to include Lariat Takedown in this deck. Yep. What it do? 8 fortitude, reversal. Reverse any non-trademark finisher maneuver and put up to 1 card from your ringside into your hand. That's a solid reversal. No complaints. Big Guy Overhead Suplex, multi-grapple / reversal, 10 fortitude, 5 damage, 1 stun. As a maneuver, it's minus 6 fortitude and plus 3 damage. As a reversal, reverse any non-unique maneuver. Another solid card. No complaints. Big Guy Tackle and Slam, 15 fortitude, 10 damage, multi-grapple / reversal. As a maneuver, it's minus 5 fortitude and plus number damage, where number is a number of cards under Ryback rules. That doesn't apply to us. When played after a successfully played maneuver, cannot be reversed from backlash. As a reversal, reverse any card played after a setup card. When successfully played, draw up to 1 card and your opponent discards 1. This card is fine. It's probably not going to get played as a reversal very often, and it's probably not going to have the reversal restriction of its own text when you're Skip Sheffield. But it's a multi-grapple and it's superstar specific. I don't see a reason not to pack it. And that's it. He doesn't get any other special packing privileges. We will look at NXT cards and also rookie cards, because that's something that we have to keep in mind. So in the meantime, let's add his cards to our shell and see where we are after that. The Backpack Stunner, Muscle and the Hustle. Yep. Overhead Suplex, and the Tackle and Slam. So since we don't get No Cell Maneuver, I think we're going to stick with Revolution of the Mind. And with our ability to manipulate our rings and also our ability to remove cards and stuff like that, we're going to want to pack cards that let us recover from RFG. So we could potentially spam Revolution of the Mind multiple times, maybe. All right, so that's it for Skip. So say it with me. Format contains ass. Superstar logo equals nothing. Let's look at card text contains NXT. So a lot of the earlier NXT cards do not have the NXT logo. They just say can only be packed by an NXT superstar. So you're going to want to do card text contains NXT, as well as afterwards do a trait search for NXT. So Youthful Agility is a good reversal. 8 fortitude action / reversal. As an action, you shuffle 3 cards from your ring set into your arsenal. As a reversal, reverse any strike, grapple, submission, draw a card. Very solid. No reason not to pack it. NXT to WWE can only be packed by an NXT superstar, cannot be blanked. This card, an underrated superstar, do not take up a pre-match slot in your ring. When you draw for your ability, draw 1 additional card. And when you move cards into your arsenal for your ability, move 1 additional card. So this card doesn't do much for Skip because we're not drawing for our ability and we're not moving cards to our arsenal for our ability. We might be packing this card anyway, just because it makes underrated superstar free. Excuse me. So we'll keep that out for now, but we'll keep it in the back of our heads. NXT Breakout Star, we already went over that, and that will be a nice big part of our build. NXT Generation, this has the NXT logo. Shuffle up to 4 non-reversal cards from your ring set into your arsenal and draw up to 1 card. When your opponent is a legend or WWF Classic superstar, he puts 1 card from his hand in the bottom of his arsenal. When you are an NXT superstar, double those numbers. So this lets us shuffle in 8 non-reversals, draw 2, and if your opponent is a legend or WWF, he puts 2 cards from his hand in the bottom. It's a very good card. Absolutely going in the deck. Arrival isn't particularly good anymore. It used to be really good, but then it got nerfed, and now, honestly, it's probably not worth packing. I think the ace, if anything, is the one part of this card you're going to use because it's very difficult to hit that main as a counter non-arsenal. That's a little more difficult to do. It does drop into your ring for free with Corey Graves. But unless we just have an open pre-match slot, I don't think we're going to use it. The NXT Championship title belt. Your hand size is +1. When you are Seth Rollins, Big E, or an NXT superstar and your opponent is not one of those, your superstar value is considered to be 0 for your card effects. This is generally a pretty good title belt. We are already a 0 superstar value. The +1 hand size is nice. The +1 superstar value is okay. Based on where this deck is going, I'm not sure I'm going to use it. I'll put it in the arsenal for now, but it might come out just based on my idea. Corey Graves cannot be blanked. This card and your NXT Arrival do not take up a pre-match slot in your ring, and your NXT Generation cannot be reversed from hand. That's that very good action that we went over a second ago. When you would move cards from under NXT Arrival, you can put 1 card from under that card on the bottom of your arsenal. Again, we already said we're probably not gonna use Arrival, so we might not end up using Corey Graves, but he does drop in for free. So if we have space in our pre-match, we will include it. The North American Championship belt isn't very good, so I don't think I'm even gonna bother with it. We can pack this card, even though it is the tag title belts. It would give us a +1 hand. That's really it. So I don't think we're going to end up using it. We're not a female superstar. NXT Arena Full Sail University can only be packed by an NXT superstar, cannot be packed when packing a Pro, which we'll go over, the Nexus armband, which we'll go over, and from NXT to WWE, which we already went over. Cannot be blanked and can be played when your opponent has a venue in his ring. You can play the NXT Generation regardless of your fortitude rating. And when this card is in your ring, you may shuffle it. And when it is in your ring, you may shuffle it into your arsenal when you successfully play a superstar-specific NXT card. Your NXT cards are -1 fortitude for each card in your ring with fans or crowd in the title. And during any turn, when you successfully play a face, heel, cheater, or fan favorite card, you may promo 2. This card is it's very good. I will have to refresh my memory about the pros and the Nexus armband, but for now, this card has the edge over from NXT to WWE. I'll put it in my backlash deck right now, but it might come out depending on the pros and the Nexus armband. We're not a cruiserweight. I don't think Skip has any printed He does not. He does not have any printed NXT cards, so this card won't do anything. We Are Not Your Kind is the NXT Allegiance. Based on my build, we're not going to be using this card, but it is a very good card if you lean into it. And that makes it so we don't get any of these cards. We cannot pack that. We're not UK. We will not be having that. The NXT UK Championship title belt, your non-multi strikes without reverse text are -2 fortitude and +1 damage. On its own, it's not bad. I don't think we're going to be using it, and we're not attacking. All right. So let's do traits contain NXT. I'm not sure there's much difference, but however, getting extra pro motion. It's a multi-action. Can only be packed when packing a pro card. When played after a superstar specific card, this card cannot, your opponent cannot respond to this card. Shuffle up to 4 cards from your ringside into your arsenal, draw up to 2, and reversals to your next card played are +8 fortitude. This card is fine. I will keep it to the side for now because, again, I'm not sure if we're going to be packing a pro or not. Are any of these any different? Well, there's Mamma Mia, but we can only have that with the Allegiance. So I think we're good. Let's look at pros now. Card type contains pro. All right, so there's not a ton of them. Maybe we'll do name contains pro. And superstar logo equals nothing. Does that help narrow it down? Okay. So we almost lost out on Hornswoggle and Zack Ryder. All right, so let's look over the pros. One of these specifically will mention Skip Sheffield. Pro Carlito. During your turn, you may hide this card, draw 3 cards, and all players discard 1. We are not Michael Tarver, so we don't get that part. Pro Chris Jericho. When you are Wade Barrett, blah, blah, blah. During his turn, when he has successfully played more than 1 non-maneuver, he may hide this card and end his turn. Pro Christian. During any turn, when your opponent draws more than 1 card other than his draw segment, you may hide this card and he does not draw those cards. When you have lower fortitude, you draw that number of cards. And when you are Heath Slater, blah, blah, blah. CM Punk. When you are Darren Young, blah, blah, blah. During your turn, you may hide this card, name a reversal, and you cannot play the name reversal card to your next card played this turn. That's the best one so far, but we'll see what the rest of them say. Pro Hornswoggle. Oh, there's 2 prone Hornswoggles. That's something that we might have to talk about in the Discord. Pro Hornswoggle. During your opponent's turn, when you have 10 or fewer cards in arsenal, you may put this card from your backstage area into your ring to completely reverse any non-trademark finisher maneuver. When you are not Titus O'Neil, discard until you have no more than 3 cards in hand. Cannot be moved from your ring. This one's okay, but the discard cost can be very heavy. Pro Matt Hardy. During your turn, when you successfully play a grapple or high risk, you may hide this card, shuffle 4 cards from ringside into your arsenal. When the maneuver was a non-multi high risk, shuffle 2 additional cards. When you are Justin Gabriel, blah, blah, blah. Pro R-Truth. During your turn, you may hide this card, and when your next card played this turn is a maneuver, it is considered unique. When you are David Otunga, blah, blah, blah. Pro The Miz. When you successfully play a non-reversal card, you may hide this card and search your opponent's arsenal for 1 card with the same title. He removes it from the game and shuffles. When you would discard cards for his effects, you may instead hide this card and overturn the same number. Pro William Regal. When you are Skip Sheffield, your starting hand size is +1 and double the numbers in this card. So that means our hand size is +2. During your turn, you may hide this card and choose 1. Search your arsenal for 2 non-unique actions, reveal it, put it into your hand and shuffle. Or when your next card play this turn is a strike or assault, your opponent must discard 1 and overturn 2 to play reversals to it. That's pretty good, especially since we are Skip Sheffield. And just to finish it out, let's read Zack Ryder. At the end of the pre-match, when all players have the same superstar value, you start the game. When you activate a card, you may hide this card and overturn 5 cards, and your opponent cannot play 9 unique reversal. Your opponent cannot play 9 unique cards to reverse that effect. That card's okay, I guess. But yeah, we are definitely going to be going pro William Regal, which means, unfortunately, we cannot pack full sale. So we'll put pro William Regal right there. Because searching for 2 action cards in this deck, I think is going to be pretty good. And also having to discard 1 and overturn 2 to play reversals to a strike or assault, that could also be relevant to the build that I have in mind. Okay, so we went over pros, we went over NXT cards. Is there anything else that we have to go over? Oh, Lariats. Look at Lariats. We can do that here. Name Lariat. Running Lariat. This card is risky. Cannot be reversed by elbow to the face, which is pretty helpful. Reversals to it are +2 damage, which hurts. When reversed from your opponent's hand, if the first card played on his next turn is a maneuver, it cannot be reversed. That really hurts. Unless you're sitting on Sidewalk Slam and you're trying to bait your opponent, that hurts. And remember, it cannot be reversed by unique cards because we are Skip Sheffield and we have that pre-match card, but I don't think we're going to be using it. Bulldog Lariat isn't good. All right, this is Lariat Takedown. He has a couple cards that reference this. 0 Fortitude, 7 damage, strike a grapple. Cannot be packed by female superstars. Can only be played when you have 4 or more cards in your Backlash deck. When successfully played, reveal 4 random cards from your Backlash. Put 3 of them into your ringside pile and the 4th into your Backlash. After damage has been applied, end your turn. So we have run into a kind of rules inconsistency. So all of the Skip Sheffield stuff says do not discard for Lariat Takedown. However, the most recent printing of Lariat Takedown does not make you discard. It makes you put cards from your Backlash deck into your ringside. I'm sure the intention is based on the old wording of Lariat Takedown, which was a discard effect, but that wording has been changed. So that might be something that the dev team looks at and edits Skip Sheffield's cards. So now looking at that, I don't think we're going to be using Lariat Takedown. Flying Lariat, we're not going to use. Suicide Lariat, we're not going to use. Atomic Lariat. Atomic Lariat is overall a good card. However, it's RMS, so it doesn't get the protection from our pre-match. If it had that protection, then this card would be really good. It's a 6 Fortitude, 6 damage strike that can only be reversed by hybrid or unique reversals. So if this did get protection from our pre-match, then it basically can only be reversed by hybrid reversals. We may still include this card, but I'm not entirely sure yet. Lariat is a heat card. We're not going to be building a heat deck, so it's not worth it. Dynamic Lariat is good for a dynamic deck, but we're not going to be that. Technical Lunging Lariat, on the other hand, is a card that I've talked about already on this show with the Kevin Nash build. This is one of the most underrated actions in the game. It's my favorite technical action because it deals with getting rid of cards in your opponent's ring. We may pack this card, but we're not going to be a technical deck in general. Classic Bulldog Lariat. It can be reversed as if it's non-unique. As a maneuver, this card is -6 Fortitude and cannot be reversed by D1 or greater reversals. As a reversal, reverse any strike, grapple, or submission that has the restriction modification symbol. This card is good. Again, I don't know if we're going to use it, but we might. In classic Lariat, it's a 10 fortitude 8 damage strike. You can overturn up to 5, and it's -1 fortitude and plus, or you can discard up to 5, excuse me, and it's -1 fortitude and +1 damage for each card discarded. We're definitely not going to be using that. So overall, they're not great. I guess you could make an interesting, are you ready for a good time deck with Flying Lariat? But, you know, that's a little silly. Atomic Lariat, like I said, might go into the deck just because it's just a good maneuver that's hard to reverse. And 6 fortitude is a good bridge number. So we might add that. Is there anything in our arsenal right now that we're not going to keep? We'll keep Candace in there for now, but I make no promises. All right, so we are going to be a fan favorite deck, so we cannot pack Shocking Interference or Jive Soul Bro. We're definitely going to want all these cards. Hold the Phone. We might be able to pack it just because Skip doesn't have many specifics. So we're at 36 right now, which is a pretty good number because there are a few actions I want to do. So I guess now's a good time to tell you my idea for this deck. And more importantly, the card that it's built around. There's a new card that came out in V12 called Raw Reunion. I love this card. It is raw and it's fan favorite. Pre-match event, unique and permanent. Cannot be packed when packing Dance Coach Dance. So Dance Coach Dance is a good card. It cannot be blanked. Before each of your draw segments, you may put one non-unique RFG raw card into your hand or bury one non-unique non-hybrid ringside maneuver and then skip your draw segment. When you have 5 fortitude or less, your opponent must discard one reversal to play reversals to your ankle breaker. So this card has a couple of really good things going for it. We'll talk about the ankle breaker part first. When you have 5 fortitude or less, opponent must discard one card to play reversals to your ankle breaker. Not only is it just one card, it's one reversal. An ankle breaker is... It's a 0 fortitude strike that's 3 printed damage. It's RMS and it's raw. This card is plus number damage where number is equal to your fortitude rating. So this card can at times be, 85 damage near the end of the game. Just watch out for overshot your mark. But let's go back to Raw Reunion. Read that last effect again. Your opponent must discard one reversal to play reversals to your ankle breaker. Now remember, we have PRO William Regal, which says, or when your next card played this turn is a strike or assault, ankle breaker is a strike, your opponent must discard one card and overturn 2 to play reversals to it. So we could stack these effects to make it so your opponent has to discard 1 and overturn 2 and also discard a reversal. If I'm going against Skip Sheffield and it's the beginning of the game and he uses the effect of William Regal and Raw Reunion, I'm probably going to let him successfully play the ankle breaker. So that might be 3 fortitude for you right there. But let's look at the ace of Raw Reunion again. Before each of your draw segments, you may put one non-unique RFG raw card into your hand or bury a non-unique non-hybrid ringside maneuver and then skip your draw segment. So the cost of this ace is the good part. You can pick up a RFG raw card or bury a ringside maneuver, and the effect of this card is skipping your draw segment. So even if your opponent reverses your ace, you've done what you want to do. And let's combine that with this. Once during each of your turns, you may remove one card in your ring from the game and then search your top 5 cards of your arsenal for one maneuver, reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle. So if we have a non-unique raw card in our ring, we can use our ability, remove it, search the top 5 for a maneuver, And then before our next draw segment, we can put that same card into our hand to play again. So we could potentially spam a non-unique raw card every turn, potentially. So this card is going to be the kind of cornerstone of this Skip Sheffield deck. That card will be going right there. Now that also makes us a raw superstar, or not a raw superstar, it makes us a raw build. So now we have to look at raw trait cards. Some of the early ones aren't very good, so we might just skip some of these, like Pet Raccoon and Government Mule and Scalded Dog. We're not going to be doing the JR Animal Hat Trick route. Sorry, but you're boring me. He's not worth it. Fire Extinguisher is not worth it. Did I just say 3 minutes might be worth packing? And it is active. So if we really want to, we can pack more than one, because we can kind of cycle active cards. We can remove them from our ring and play another one. However, I think the card that we're really gonna go for will really not make this one worth it. Singapore Cane, if you are an extremist and you have Extreme Rules match, this card's pretty good, but on its own, it's not very good. Managed by Eric. At the end of the pre-match phase, search your arsenal for the, I just say 3 minutes, reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle your arsenal. All players' cards with McMahon in the title are considered to have blank text. That is really good if you want to protect a stipulation or a title belt. I'm not sure we're going to need that, so we might hold off on this card. Furniture Fun, that's not really relevant to us. King Interference, of course, is a staple in every Raw deck, so that's going in. Hat Trick, no. Beat You Raw, we're not going to pack this one. From the Mind of Eric Bischoff, this card is very good. It cannot be reversed when managed by Eric Bischoff is in your ring area. Put up the number of cards with a Raw logo from your ringside pile into your hand, where number is a number of cards with the Raw logo in your ring area. Your next card's here's a rating booster, it cannot be reversed. So if you have 10 Raw cards in your hand, you basically get to pick up 10 Raw cards in your ringside. Now, we might not have that many overall, but it's generally worth keeping at least one. So we're going to add that to our arsenal. Forcible Entry. This card's okay. I don't think we're going to use it because, so it's discard any number of cards, and for every 2 cards you discard, search your opponent's arsenal for 1 card and he puts it into his ringside. That is a good effect, but we don't really have anything to really build our hand up right now, so I don't think we're going to use it. We can't pack Dance Coach. All right, Premier Raw Superstar. Can only be played if your superstar value is 3 or greater. Remember, we're a 0 right now. When this card is in your ring area, when you successfully play a card with the Raw logo, your opponent discards 1. And once during each of your turns, you may discard 2 cards with the Raw logo and pick up a non-unique card with the Raw logo, put it in your hand. That's a really good card. So I do want to pack this card, but that does mean we are going to have to belt up, because we're a 0 right now. And if our opponent is face, maybe, and has, product endorsements, we probably aren't going to be getting Premier Raw Superstar. So keep that in mind. Mangled Intro, you cannot play pre-match cards and your mid-match is +2. If we have room, we'll pack it. But I don't think we'll have room. Raw Roulette Wheel. Chief Morley says not worth it. Overhead Chair Shot it's okay. It's a multi-strike, 542, 5 damage for an object. It's heal. It's raw, of course. Cannot be reversed by back rake. If it's in your ring area, you can ace it to reverse a foreign object or any card play have to roll out of the ring. I will include it for now, but it might be taken out. Get Out of Here, reverse any non-trademark finisher maneuver of number damage or less, where number is equal to the total number of cards removed from the game. And you can pick up any number of ringside, get the F outs. This card is okay. And even though our ability deals with RFG cards, I don't think we're going to have enough to warrant packing this. She's got legs. Shuffle number cards from your ringside of your arsenal, and your maneuvers are plus number damage for the rest of the turn, where number is equal to the number of cards in your ring with the Raw logo. This card is pretty good, so it's going in for now. This has gone over by 3 minutes. Your opponent randomly discards 3 cards. That's just plain good. For now, it's going in. We're not going to be building around Elimination Chamber. We're not going to be building around Raw Deal. Undermine the Competition is another staple in Raw deck. We don't care about Enforcers. We're not female. Where's the Payoff is a good card, but not necessarily for us, so we're not going to pack it. Twisted Smile, on the other hand, is a good card, and we are going to pack it. It's 9 Fortitude multi-action. Your opponent may discard 4 cards if he does not draw up to 3. That's just plain good. And that's a card that we can potentially spam with Raw Reunion. So we would play it, and then we would either make opponent would either discard 4 or we would draw 3. We would remove it with our superstar ability. Look at the top 5, search for a maneuver. And then next draw segment, we would put Twisted Smile back into our hand with Raw Reunion, skip our draw segment, play Twisted Smile, rinse, and repeat. Your opponent's probably going to let you draw, so skipping your draw segment will not be an issue because you'll be drawing 3 cards every time you play Twisted Smile. Backstage interview with Terry. I don't think we're going to use Trash Talking Interview, so that doesn't matter. Managed by Miss Jackie, we're not going to use. It's good in some superstars, but not necessarily for us. Teddy Long, not worth it. Get the Tables, no. Absolutely Raw is search for 2 non-unique cards with Raw logo. No, I'd rather pack other good cards. Donnybrook and Barbecue Sauce, not worth it. Bad Blood, we don't have a specific maneuver that we necessarily need to have in the opening hand. Testicular Fortitude's not great. I'm Hardcore is not great. Raw and Ready's pretty good, but you can't pack it with Revolution of the Mind. JR Action makes your next card, it makes your next maneuver card multi, which is fine, but not really for us. Managed by the Coach, and Here Comes a Coach. We're not going to be using them. Hello Ladies is fine recovery, but we're not a female superstar, so it does take up a slot. We're not Heat, so that doesn't matter. Roundhouse Kick. Roundhouse Kick isn't terrible, and we're going to have enough cards to set it up. I'll put 1 in for now. We might add 1 or 2 more. We might take it away. So I don't know. We're definitely going to want 3 ankle breakers. Absolutely. Slingshot into the ring post. Grapple setup / reversal. 0 Fortitude, 2 damage, Raw. As a maneuver, it can only be reversed from your opponent's hand. As a reversal, reverse any card played after a setup and end your opponent's turn. When successfully played, if your Fortitude rating is at least 30 Fortitude greater than your opponent's Fortitude, you win the game via pinfall victory. This is a card that I might pack 1 of. I don't think I'm going to build an entire deck around it because at this point, I don't know what our Fortitude ratings are going to look like using our superstar ability. We could remove our own Fortitude if we need to. How many do you need? This is a card that I want to like more, but I just don't think it's very good. It's a 0 Fortitude, 0 damage reversal. When played from your hand, if your opponent has at least 5 maneuvers in his ring, reverse any activated card effect or non-unique maneuver in his turn. You know, that can be very useful, but by the time your opponent has 5 maneuvers in his ring, you're probably hurting already. So I just don't think it's going to be in the deck. Everyone wants to watch women wrestle. We're not a female superstar. Backed by Eric Bischoff. This was the card that I thought of immediately. It's a heel action, 7 Fortitude, and it is Raw. Remove cards in your opponent's ringside from the game equal to his superstar value, plus the number of face cards and fan favorite cards in his ring, and then shuffle 1 of your cards that have been removed from the game into your arsenal. This card serves a number of purposes for us. First of all, it's a non-unique Raw card. So we can use Raw Reunion to put it into our hand if it's removed from the game. So we play this card. We remove a bunch of cards on our opponent's ringside. We shuffle one of our other cards removed from the game into our arsenal. Any card, including Divine Intervention, Revolution of the Mind, any arsenal card that we remove with our ability, we can shuffle in with this card. So we can spam this card a lot, and it's a heel action. And there's a little pre-match card called Abraham Washington that we are definitely going to be packing. So for now, I'm going to put 2 Backed by Eric's in here. We theoretically only need 1, but I'm going to put 2 in for now. It's a card that we can cut if we have to. Let's get it on. You cannot play pre-match cards. Your hand size is +2. That's a great card to play at the end of the pre-match phase. We're not going to have a huge hand, so I'm going to put this card in here for now. It might come out. It's probably going to come out because we're probably going to have the card to put in for a no-show, but for now it's in. Sex Gods, Freaks, Frauds. Discard 1 card, draw 2 cards, shuffle 3 of your cards that have been removed from the game into your arsenal, and then look at your opponent's hand. Choose up to 4 cards, and he shuffles those cards into his arsenal, and then draws the same number. It's another really good card. It's a card that I wish I had more room to pack in my mid-match. I'm going to include 1 just to remind myself that if we have room, we can add more. Let's go to the Raw Allegiance first. So I think we're going to be using the Raw Allegiance. Copy packed. I'm packing more than 1 copy of King Interferes or From the Mind. That's fine. Can be played regardless of Boogeyman's ability. Ignore the "you cannot play pre-match cards" in the text of your Raw pre-match cards. So that covers us with Let's Get It On. And your first non-unique Raw action of each turn cannot be reversed by hybrid or unique reversals. Okay, so that means no volley this. That means no superstar specific unique action reversal. This gives you really good protection on your Raw actions. Remember, we're probably going to be spamming some of them, so that's really good. Once during each of your turns, you can put 2 Raw cards in your ring under this card, and your opponent overturns 2. This deck probably won't be using that effect too often unless it's late game and it's the difference between winning and losing. Now let's go back. No class, no taste, no shirt, shit-faced. It is a 3 fortitude action, requirement allegiance Raw. When your next card played is Sex Gods, Freaks, Frauds, your opponent cannot respond to it. I'm going to include this card because actions are hard to reverse. What are we at now? We're at 49. Okay. No fear, no doubt, all in, balls out. Not sure if you're going to get to this card. It's a 13 fortitude Raw action. Discard cards from your hand until you have 2 cards in hand. Look at your opponent's backlash, choose 1 non-superstar specific card, and he discards the chosen card. When your next card played this turn is a 9 damage or lower trademark finisher, he cannot respond to it. When it is a 10 damage or greater trademark finisher and it is not reversed, you win the game via pinfall. So let's think about this. We have to discard down to 2, which will hurt. However, we get to snipe a backlash card, a non-superstar specific backlash card. And remember, we have a really difficult to reverse trademark finisher because when our pre-match is in our ring, it can only be reversed by unique reversals and cannot be reversed by unique cards. So we have to think to ourselves, how many cards really reverse this card? Can only be reversed by unique reversals, cannot be reversed by unique cards. Is there anything that I can think of? I think I might pack balls out. Because if there's a situation where I have this card and this card in my hand, I can play this card down to 2, with the Lariat being one of them. And then if the Lariat hits and it's not reversed, I win. Yeah, why not? I mean, it's Skip Sheffield. Let's have fun with it. We already went over that. Every day I'll fight to be legendary. The mid-match action. When played, you can discard a raw card and your opponent cannot respond to this card. Shuffle any number of RFG coach cards into your arsenal. When your maneuver is unsuccessful, you can put this card into your ringside and your turn does not end. We don't have a bunch of coach cards, so don't think we're going to be using this card. It's having a free card that your opponent cannot respond to is kind of good, especially because it has the Raw logo and Premier Raw Superstar could make them discard, but I don't think we can justify having this card in our mid-match. Interrupted by the anonymous Raw GM. It's 11 Fortitude, non-maneuver reversal. When you have lower Fortitude, this card is 5 Fortitude and put 1 Raw non-maneuver from your ringside into your hand. That's a pretty good card. We'll put it there. Beat You Raw. This card's very good. You may not search for this card. This card is considered non-unique for your Raw card effects. When this card is unsuccessful, your opponent overturns cards equal to the number of Raw cards in your ring, max 5. It's 6 Fortitude and it's 5 damage. It has 2 stun value. So that one line, this card is considered non-unique for your Raw card effects. Before each of your draw side, you may put 1 non-unique RFG Raw card into your hand. Beat You Raw is a card that we can remove with our Superstar ability. So once Beat You Raw is in play, we can spam this card every turn. And this card hurts whether it's successful or unsuccessful. This is the way. This will justify not being able to pack a ton of maneuvers. So unfortunately, we cannot get Beat You Raw using our Superstar ability because it is a search effect. So that's unfortunate. But once this card is out, man, you have your game plan set. Just keep spamming Beat You Raw. Through the Raw announce table, we're not going to pack this card. It's really not good enough for us. It's fine. Like on its own, it's a good card, but it doesn't really help this deck. We have Raw Reunion. All right, here are some belts. Remember, we are going to belt. So the World Heavyweight belt lets you search for non-unique Raw cards, such as, I don't know, Ankle Breaker. Raw tags, we're not a tag team. We don't care about the guest ring announcer. The Raw IC belt is free, so we're definitely going to pack it. Al Snow GRA. It's meh. If this was a very Vicky Guerrero, backed by Vicky Guerrero heavy meta, I would say we would consider it, but it's not anymore. And the United States belt throwback gives us +1 hand, gives opponent -1 hand, and it gives us +1 superstar value. So we're going to be packing that. All right, so we have 8 cards left to pack. So let's see. Ring post. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to need it. So that can go away. We want these. Yes, yes. Roundhouse kick. I don't know if I can justify it. So that's going to go away. Overhand chair shot is fine for now. If we have 10 cards, so we have some room to work with. So we'll keep it for now. Twisted Smiles, good. 3 minutes is good. Yes, yes, yes. Candace, yeah, I think we are going to, I'm going to put 2 Candace because we are going to need some more recovery. I think we're going to keep hold the phone, so that's good. So we have 9 cards. So let's do a search for removed from. If there's any of these that we're going to want to pack to search for cards that help us get cards back from RFG. So far, nothing. This card's not very good anymore. It used to be, but it's not anymore. Reaping neck snap. What does that even do? Yeah, fortitude is way too high to justify it. McMahon family values. We might actually pack. Shuffle up to 3 of your cards that have been removed from the game into your arsenal, or shuffle any number of unique cards or cards with the word McMahon in the title from your ringside into your arsenal. And we're not packing Managed by Eric Bischoff, so this card isn't blank. So I think going to, I think it might be good to pack that. Hell freezes over. I gotta say, play Eagle Maniacal. Bat out of Hell, no. Buried Alive, no. We're not packing a ton of throwback or volley cards, so I don't think that's worth it. Afterburn, no, but that's a fun idea. We already have that, which helps us recover RFG cards. I think we're going to have at least one Sex Gods, hopefully more. No. This is an underrated reversal, but it's cheater, so we can't use it. Coach Says is another underrated reversal. I don't think we're going to have enough ringside mid-match cards to justify packing it. If we have room, maybe one, but I don't know. Over the ropes, you can move one card in your ringside with fortitude greater than your fortitude rating from the game. If you do, your next maneuver is -2 fortitude for every card of yours from the game, but it can only be reversed by hybrid or unique reversal cards. We're not packing a ton of maneuvers so far, so I think that's somewhere that we'll have to look. So I don't think over the ropes will help. No. Technical bear hug. I think we're going to add at least one. For now, I'll add 2. Hide and seek, no. Ooh, I did just think of something. Blindsided the Divas. No. It's not bad, but we're not going a blindside route. Crystal, we'll add 1 crystal because we are a fan favorite. It lets you shuffle 7 of your RFG cards in your arsenal. Not bad. We're not bash. We don't care about witty retort. None of these are appealing to me. Yeah, I think. I just thought of something else. So we are going to be using the Abraham Washington show. It's a pre-match card. When you're an extremist, it does nothing with slot, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the pre-match phase, search your arsenal for 1 heal action, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle. Your first heal action played on each of your turns is multi, and when when you do not have a card with that title in your ring. And ignore completely and your opponent's reversals to it. And his once is enough is +10 fortitude for each copy of that card in his ring. This card's very good. And remember that backed by Eric Bischoff is a heal action. So that card's going to be multi, ignore completely. It's also going to be cannot be reversed by hybrids or uniques. And we're going to spam it just about every turn. So that's absolutely going in. So there's another card I want to bring up that I think would be fun, but we might not use. Diluting yourself. Draw 4 cards. At the end of the turn, discard your hand. You might be thinking, wow, that sucks. However, at the end of your turn, discard your hand. So the bookkeeping rule, if we remove it with our ability, this card basically reads, draw 4 cards. And it's multi because of Abraham Washington. So if we have room, which right now we do, I'm going to add 1. Just 1. You know, and something that's important to know is that you don't always have to add 2 of a non-unique card. I know sometimes you feel like, well, if I don't pack 2, then why bother packing 1? You know, sometimes you only need 1. You know, sometimes you do. Another card that might be fun is All Talk, No Action. That's a 3 fortitude action reversal. Reverse any action and end your opponent's turn. When this card is in your ring, you cannot play actions from your hand. However, we can take this card out of our ring whenever we want to. So I think we're going to add 2 of these to our deck. So we have 2 cards left. And Right now, we're looking at spamming ankle breaker until opponent lets us have it. And then it becomes spam beat you raw. I'm still not sold on overhand chair shot, so we might get rid of that if we can find something. You know what? I'm just going to get rid of it now. Now we have 3 cards left. I'm liking the look of this so far. It's at least a good direction for draft 1 of a superstar that I've never made. I think, let's see, is there anything I'm forgetting? You know what? We have a bunch of stun value. So let's look at backslide. It's a 5 fortitude grapple, but it's never played as a maneuver. Reversal strike. It reverses any strike, and when successfully played, if your opponent, if your fortitude is at least 20 fortitude greater than your opponent's fortitude, or if you have 5 or more stun value in your ring than him, you win the game. So if we have 3 ankle breakers in our ring and our opponent plays a strike and he has no stun value and we play backslide, we win. And that can happen on turn 3. So I think I'm going to add 2 backslides. And if you add backslide, you might as well add inside cradle because it's the same version, but for grapples. So I think that puts us at 1 card over. So we'll have to get rid of something. Is there anything that we have 2 copies of that we don't really need 2 copies of? I suppose we can only pack 1 hold the phone. I'm only going to pack 1 hold the phone. And again, we probably don't need 2 copies of Back by Eric because if it gets removed, we can just get it back. If it's in our ringside, then, oh, here's an idea. Let's remove 1 Eric and let's pick up Kidney Punch. 4 fortitude strike, volley 7, 8 damage with a stun. But the more important part, when this card is in your ringside, during your turn, you can remove 4 cards in your ringside from the game and put this card into your hand. So let's say Beat You Raw gets put into our ringside. That means we can remove it with Kidney Punch and then pick it up next turn with Raw Reunion, and then we're off to the races. That's 60 cards? Yeah, it is. The tackle and slam again, we don't really need it. Is it worth packing? I mean, at this point, the backpack stunner might not be worth packing because I don't think we're going to have a ton of fortitude. So you know what? Like rule number 3 of Raw Deal is just because it's specific, it doesn't mean you have to pack it. So we're going to get rid of that. And we're going to get rid of that. That leaves us with 2 cards. That's 2 valuable spaces. And remember, we're a little maneuver light. So maybe we look at some kind of card text be reversed. See what we have. Let's see. We went over a bunch of these with Kevin Nash. Nothing sticking out so far. We already talked about Atomic Lariat earlier, so that might be something to put in. Poke and Shake is fun, but they're not great. Not in this deck, at least. They're great in like a high-risk deck. Bootlace is a lot of fun. Atomic Lariat is pretty good, though. I mean, do we just... I wish I had stun value, but it, that's greedy. Do we just bite the bullet and put in a couple German suplexes? I mean, why not, right? Good card is good. There it is. I mean, is it that easy? Is there anything that I'm forgetting? I don't. I mean, is it worth putting in a precision haymaker just for the memes? It's good. It has stun value, and it we can kind of get around the shenanigans by playing it, removing it, and then getting it back in our arsenal from RFG. Huh? Is there a card I can get rid of? maybe, you know what, I think I'm gonna skip the Precision Haymaker. Much as I'd like to, I don't think we have to. You know, Dirty Low Blow and all that. Yeah, I think we're pretty good now. And just to be safe, let's look at active cards. Because remember, we can get rid of active cards from our ring area. I'm just going to go over these quick. I'm not going to go over a bunch of them because a lot of them just probably aren't worth it. So let's just see if we get any fun ideas. No. Again, this card is fine, but I don't think we're going to need it. One of a kind. I never realized that card was active. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything super important right now. Maybe, you know, you're watching this video and you saw some that card's not active. Neither is that. Huh. Weird. Or that. Or that. Or that. We're finding more and more things with each video. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Nothing's giving me any great ideas. If we were a tag team, that'd be fun. Armbreaker's a good card, but not necessarily for us. That's permanent. That's not active. That's not active. No. Not seeing anything. Oh, you know what we can do? We can use Distracting with Divalicious and then basically guarantee we get to play the first card of the game. That could be interesting. No, we're starting to get into cards that I have to actually think about now. The first batch of active cards didn't really do anything for me, but as the game went on, cards generally got better. Oh, this reminds me, we can pack multiple copies of like active mid-match cards because we can get rid of them. So mid-match ring space won't be an issue. Ring backlash packing space will be an issue. So we're probably going to want an extra scrupulous maybe, and probably an extra outside interference when we get there, just because it's good to have two. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything really that I must have. I didn't realize that was active. Yeah, I'm still not impressed with a lot of what I'm seeing. Permanent shoot counter would be nice because we could pack a bunch of them. Is it worth putting in like a shoot action just to get a bunch of shoot counters? Do I have space in the deck that I want to get rid of? I mean, I guess I don't need Deluding Yourself because we have Twisted Smile if we really need to draw cards. Yeah, I think shoot action in the long haul will be the way to go. So let me put in one shoot action. Get rid of that and shoot counter down here. I mean, if we're doing it, we're gonna pack at least two. So again, we'll have to trim out some mid-match cards. That's permanent. These are probably mostly permanent because they're virtual cards. That card's active, but you know, if we pack it, we're gonna want it. This might not be a bad pack because if we get any raw cards off the promo, we can raw reunion them. Yeah, I think we'll skip it. Then we have the tag cards. That's something. Ooh, that something reminds me that we can kind of use That's Broken really to help us out. Search your arsenal for one card, put it under this card and shuffle. When this card's in your ring area, you can, if the card under this card is a non-unique maneuver or reversal, you can play it as if it's from hand. When this card is put from your ring area, into your ringside pile. All right. So we can't use this card as I wanted to. I thought when this card removes itself from your ring in any way, you get the card under it. However, only if it gets put into your ringside pile. So we can't use our ability to put any card into our hand like Leader of the Population can. So anyway, I think we're done with Arsenal. All right, so we're already at 25 backlash cards. So we know we're going to have to trim some fat. So let's see. Pre-match cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're already at 11 pre-match cards, and this is before we even think about trimming fat. So we'll have to really put our thinking caps on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we already have to cut 2. So we're going to cut Road to Victory right away. Man, this really sucks because I really want Sex Gods, Freaks, Frauds because it works well with our ability, but we might already have enough. We might have enough cards that get RFP cards back. Oh man, I think I have to because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we definitely want all of these. I mean, we can only pack 1 King Interferes, so I can't manipulate that. Scrupulous times 2. I mean, basically comes down to, do we want an extra Scrupulous or do we want an extra Outside Interference? Scrupulous is really good because it hits aces. We have plenty of action reversals, I feel like, but this hits activated card effects. Outside Interference, on the other hand, reverse any maneuver, but we need to have pre-match manager or manager interferes or backstage politics. So we have manager interferes, but we don't have the other cards. So I think we're going to keep our mid-match as it is right now. So pre-match card. We have 1 slot, and I know that we want this card. I've had more championships than you've had women. Cannot be packed by a GM superstar. When this card is in your ring area, your title belt cards have the added text of the maximum number of pre-match cards you may have in your ring area increased by 1. So this essentially makes all of our belts free. So we're going to put that strategically here. We're going to want to play Premier Raw Superstar as soon as we have 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're already at 12. I think NXT belt might get cut, but we'll see. Okay. So we'll see how many of these take up a spot. 1. So this already gives us +1. So this gives us a free one. So right now we're at 0. 1, 2, no, 2, sorry. 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's okay. That means we could get rid of Let's Get It On, which is fine. And that leaves us a card that we can put in with No Show, because remember, No Show gets rid of itself. So we're going to put in Distractingly Divalicious. Can only be packed by a male superstar. Can only be played when your opponent is a male superstar. When this card is in your ring area, non-reversal cards cannot be played during the first 2 turns of the match. So if our opponent goes first, and he's a male superstar, of course, he can't play cards unless they're reversal during the first 2 turns. However, in my turn, I can remove this card with my superstar ability, and then that card is gone, and its effect does not have an impact on the game. So that basically gives me the first turn. And let me remind you that with No Show, if your cards are not heel cards with different titles, they get removed from the game. So that's another way to help us with Raw Reunion, because I can go and I can get 2 ankle breakers, remove them from the game, and I basically have 2 cards, 2 maneuvers over there that I can skip my draw segment and pick up. And is my opponent going to want to use Don't Try This at Home this early in the game? Maybe, maybe not. I could also store Twisted Smile in my RFG, or Backed by Eric, since that's a big part of this deck. So any non-unique Raw card that you get, although this card is Heel, so this would actually go into your hand. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this deck. This worked out better than I thought. I've never built Skip Sheffield, so this is very much an experiment. This is the most out there deck that we've built, so I'm really excited to actually test this deck out. I wish we had room for underrated superstar. But then again, we're going to be over a 3 superstar value anyway, so I guess we don't need to. Then again, we have the NXT belt. Ooh, but I can't get rid of anything else. I simply cannot get rid of anything else, because Abraham Washington's too important for us. Yeah. So no underrated for us. Is there another card? And if we had 2 open spots, then I could say we could do NXT to WWE plus underrated, but we definitely don't have 2 spots open, unfortunately. So yeah, I think that's just the way it's going to be. You know, we can't have our cake and eat it too all the time. Another card I wish we had room for was, oh, it's actually here. Diva Bikini Contest. It's blank, but it gives you 2 stun values. So that can help us with the inside cradle and backslide strategy. But we simply don't have a slot for it. I cannot justify getting rid of No Show or Corn-Fed Meathead or Abraham Washington or the Allegiance. So yeah, unfortunately, we don't get the divas. So yeah, so that's Skip Sheffield. It was more of an interesting build than I think I was anticipating when I saw his name pop up. So yeah, thank you guys. I'm really looking forward to playing this deck, and I will let you know how it goes. Thank you for watching.